This is lesson 71, fractions, percents, and decimals. They use manipulatives that I'm sure Mrs. Snyder will give to you. I don't have them here, so I made my own. So fractions, percents, and decimals can name the same amount. You can have a half a pie, you can have 50% of a pie, or you can have 5/10 of a pie. All of those things, you have the same amount of pie. You're just calling it different things. They mean the same. So 1/2 is the same as 50 out of 100. And since 50 out of 100, 50%, percent means out of 100. So 50 out of 100. And that's 5/10. And I can write that as a decimal, 0.5. So all of those are the same amount. Okay, so in your book, they kind of give you some examples you'll have to go through, and this is basically what they're talking about. And your fraction manipulatives are circle pieces. You know, I don't do circles well, so I did my rectangle boxes, and I used the lines on the paper to help me divide it equally. So I see that I have 1/2. So here's 1/2, here's the other half of my whole thing. 1/2 is the same as 50%, is the same as 5/10, right? So I can also write that 1/2 as 5 out of 10, right? 1/4, so I have 4 equal pieces. 25%, so if 25 out of 100. Remember, percent means out of 100, so I have to have a fraction with the denominator of 100. Once I have that percent, it's really easy to change it into a decimal because it's just the same thing out of 100. What do you notice? So I have my 1/2. How many pieces do I have? 2. I have my 1/4. How many pieces do I have? 4. So whatever my denominator is, I'm going to break that into that many pieces. So here, you probably can't see it, but I have 1/10. So I broke it into 10 little pieces. Each piece is 1/10 or 10% or 0.1, which is also 1/10. I have 1/3, so 3 pieces, 1 out of 3. This is a little bit different. It's a repeating decimal. If I break 100 into 3 groups, I don't have an equal amount, do I? So I have 33 plus a little bit in each group, and that plus a little bit is 1/3. So 1/3 is the same thing as 33 and 1/3%, which is the repeating decimal. That's what that little bar means. That means it goes on forever. 1/5, I break it into 5 groups. Each is 20%. Let's slide it up. And that's 0.2. So 20%. How did I get that 20? So let's do that one. We'll go back to that in just a minute. 0.2. Okay, and then 1/8, I have 8 pieces. This is another one. If I broke 100 into 8 pieces, it doesn't break evenly. So each group would have 12.5 things in it. So 1/8 is the same as 12.5% and 0.125. So 12.5. All right, so those are there. We're going to push those aside just for a minute. Use yours since they're pre-printed and easier to see. I said we'd go back to the 1/5. How did we get 20%? All right, well, I know I want whatever my fraction to be out of 100 if I'm going to do a percent, right? So as long as I multiply this thing by 1, I can do whatever I want. So times line equals line. What do I multiply 5 by to get 100? 5 times what is 100? 20. So that is 1, isn't it? 20 over 20. So 1 times 20 is 20. So remember I said 1/5 is the same thing as 20%, 20 out of 100. So as long as I can change my denominator to be 100, that's how I can find my percent. Okay, we'll learn a little bit more about that. Right now it's all pre-printed. You don't have to worry too much about it, but that's how I got that. Let's do a hard one. Now, let's set that aside. I was going to do the 1/3 and the 1/2, but we'll just skip that for now. We'll get to that in a different lesson. Your activities, what you're going to do is you're going to cut these apart. So I'm going to take these and cut my 1/3 apart. Nope, 1/10 apart. I'm going to cut all of them. Okay, I've got some little tiny 1/10 here. So if I put them all together, I have one whole piece. But if I take them apart, I have 1/10. So question number 1 says, if you fit 3 1/10 pieces together, you have what fraction of a circle? So I have 3 out of 10, right? 3/10. What decimal part of a circle? Oh, 3/10. Can I just write that 0.3? And is this greater or less than a half? Well, that's less than a half, isn't it? This is smaller than this piece. So it's definitely less than a half. Continue working with your manipulatives and play with them that way. I think you'll be able to easily figure out what those meanings are. Push those aside. Down where it says model, I'll go number 4. Let's use a fresh piece of paper. 8/10, so this is number 4, sorry, minus 4/10. I'm going to compare that to 0.5. Well, I can't really compare easily decimals and fractions, so let's make them both the same thing. So I'm going to change that, and I'm going to say 8/10 minus 4/10. And I'm going to change that to a fraction form. Same thing, just wrote it as a fraction. So what's 8 minus 4? 4/10. So which is bigger? The 5/10, right? So remember the little pointy side points to the smaller number. So 4/10 is less than 5/10. Does that make sense? So you can change your decimal into fraction form, and then you can compare them. I think you should be good to go. Let's look at activity 2 and number 6. So this is page 460, number 6. And what they say is 0.125. And we're going to compare it to 0.2. So remember, when I'm comparing decimals, I like to line up my decimals and do it vertically. And remember how I said I can add zeros? So I'm going to compare those. And I'm going to start on the left, so 0. That's the same. I can't tell. Look at the 10ths place. Oh, that's bigger. So that's my greater. So that one's greater. So I know that, right? So keep playing around with this. I think if you can understand this and really focus on this stuff, man, this will take you a long way. So I need you to spend some time on this and really make sure you can get all this stuff right. Good luck.